Give me 15 minutes of your undivided attention, and I will erase what you call your weakness. Not because I will give you hollow motivation, not because I will fill your ears with empty inspiration, but because you will finally see what you've been calling weakness for what it truly is: an illusion, a narrative you've been sold, a system of lies you have told yourself so often you have mistaken them for your own personality. And if you are willing to listen closely, if you are willing to sit through the discomfort of this diagnosis and let the philosophy of Friedrich Nietzsche speak directly to the parts of you that you've kept hidden, then something inside you will shatter. And what replaces it will not be a better version of you. It will be the version that was always there, buried deep beneath the weakness, waiting for the moment you finally stopped protecting it. Let's be brutally clear. Nietzsche didn't believe in comforting the weak. He didn't write for the fragile, the sensitive, or the endlessly anxious. He wrote for the ones who are ready to confront the inherent violence of life with eyes wide open. The ones who are tired of lying to themselves. The ones who realized that no one is coming to save them and finally decided to stop waiting. To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. Friedrich Nietzsche. And if you've reached that point, if you've had enough of the fear, the passivity, the apologies, the emotional inflation that has softened you into social invisibility, then this is not your transformation. This is your return. Because strength was never outside you. It was simply buried under layers of self-doubt, societal training, and the insidious addiction to comfort. So let's begin with a question that cuts to the bone. What does it truly mean to be weak? Most people think weakness is crying too much, or being physically small, or lacking discipline. But Nietzsche would tell you otherwise. Weakness is not emotional expression. Weakness is emotional submission. Weakness is needing permission to exist. Weakness is outsourcing your validation to people who don't even understand themselves. Weakness is choosing peace over truth. Weakness is lying about what you want, just to avoid judgment. Weakness is calling your laziness self-care and your fear humility. Weakness is not the absence of strength. It is the presence of self-betrayal. And here's the brutal truth. The modern world, in many ways, is built to make you weak. Your education trained you to obey. Your culture trained you to conform. Your media feeds you helplessness disguised as awareness. And even the people who say they love you, many of them benefit from your softness, your silence, your hesitation. So they encourage it. They praise your selflessness. They reward your passivity. They applaud your restraint, not because it's good for you, but because it keeps you small, predictable, dependent, and worst of all, forgettable. Nietzsche saw this. He saw the way society molds you into a domesticated version of yourself. The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. Friedrich Nietzsche. He meant the psychological struggle. The struggle to stay true to your instincts when the world demands you neuter them. The struggle to remain dangerous, not violent, not chaotic, but dangerous in a world that wants you polite, polished, and obedient. Weakness is not a feeling, it's a choice. So the first step in this reforging is to understand the contract you have signed. You have been trained to mistake weakness for goodness, to believe that saying no is rude, that asserting your boundaries is selfish, that choosing yourself is narcissism. But Nietzsche flips that completely. He says that real strength, the kind that makes you magnetic, respected, remembered, comes from the rejection of mass thinking, the rejection of safety, the rejection of needing to be liked. So let me ask you a question, and I want you to answer it with brutal honesty in the silence of your own mind. Who are you ... without the need to be liked? Not hypothetically. Actually, strip away your filters. Stop editing yourself. If no one, absolutely no one, needed you to be nice, agreeable, humble, or passive, who would you be? What would you say? What would you demand? What would you walk away from? Most people cannot answer that because they have built their entire identity on reactions, on feedback. They don't have a self. They have a mask, a persona sculpted to fit in, to survive. And Nietzsche saw this as the death of the human spirit. The snake which cannot cast its skin has to die. As well, the minds which are prevented from changing their opinions. They cease to be a mind. Friedrich Nietzsche, the moment you stop being dangerous, the moment you start filtering your truth to fit a system, you have already surrendered your power. And you feel that already, don't you? That quiet resentment, that simmering frustration, that fatigue that doesn't go away with sleep. That's not burnout. That is the cost of weakness. The cost of living in a way that silences your deeper instincts just to keep the surface smooth. So here's what Nietzsche would tell you right now. You are not born to be soft. You are not born to be tolerant of everything. You are not born to fold every time someone raises their eyebrow. You are born to embody something sharper, something primal, not chaotic, but unshakable, not reckless, but untouchable. And the reason you feel weak is because you have denied that part of you for so long. You've started to believe it never existed. But it did. It does. And we are going to dig it out right now. Let's talk about your habits, because weakness lives in routine, in the subtle daily rituals that slowly rout your willpower while convincing you that you're doing fine. He who cannot obey himself will be commanded. Friedrich Nietzsche. You wake up, you check your phone. You have already lost. Not because phones are bad, but because you didn't claim the day. You surrendered it to an algorithm. You scroll, you compare, you envy, you react. Every time you react before you create, you weaken the muscle of sovereignty. You become emotionally flabby. You lose your edge. You lose command. Let's change that. Right now, start owning your mornings. Before you check a screen, check your posture. Check your breath. Remind yourself, I am not a consumer first. I am a creator. I am a builder. My energy is not for sale to algorithms the second I open my eyes. Obey yourself. Be commanded. Now we move from diagnosis to tactics. We will reforge 3 areas of your life where weakness festers. First, your speech. Weakness shows up in your words, in how you water yourself down to make people comfortable, how you speak softly so they won't feel threatened, how you say, I don't know, when you absolutely do, how you apologize for things that don't require an apology, for existing, for interrupting, for needing something. You are leaking power, and they can feel it. That's why they don't listen. That's why they talk over you. That's why they underestimate you. Nietzsche didn't whisper. He wrote with fire. And he expected you to do the same. Not to be loud, but to be clear. Clarity is force. Clarity makes people pause. It makes them lean in. If your presence doesn't do that yet, then you have work to do. Stop hiding. Own your opinions. Say them clean. And then, let the silence after you speak carry weight. Most people are afraid of silence. You won't be, because silence means tension. And tension is how respect is earned. Second, your body. Weakness hides in your posture, in how you sit, how you move, how you breathe. Most people live like prey, shoulders slumped, eyes down, breath shallow. You can tell someone's story by their frame, but now you change yours. Stand like someone who knows they are being watched. Walk like someone who expects to be followed. Sit like someone who isn't asking for permission. Every room you walk into, you dominate not by force, but by presence. Presence comes from certainty, and certainty comes from alignment. So ask yourself, what do I believe in so deeply that I would walk away from anything that doesn't honor it? Write it down. Carry it. Live by it. Let it bleed into everything you do. Third, your emotions. You think strength means feeling nothing. That's not strength. That's dysfunction. Nietzsche didn't teach emotional numbness. He taught emotional command. That means you can feel everything: the rage, the sorrow, the joy, and still choose your action. You don't react, you respond. When someone disrespects you, you don't explode. You don't chase. You don't defend. You just stare. You wait. And when you move, it is calculated. It is exact. It is surgical. That is strength. Weakness is emotion without awareness. Strength is emotion under control. So stop saying, "I'm just an emotional person." That's a lie. You're just undisciplined. And discipline isn't cold. It's clean. It's precise. It's the difference between crying in a breakdown and crying with purpose. The first makes you a victim. The second makes you human. Emotional command, not emotional numbness. And now we must kill something else. The most seductive god of the modern world, victimhood. Nietzsche despised the modern tendency to glorify suffering. He saw it as a trap. When you make your pain your personality, you become addicted to weakness. You become loyal to your struggle. You find identity in it. But here is the truth. No one cares what you survived. They care what you became because of it. And if all you became was bitter, anxious, and fragile, then you let your story win. So rewrite it. Don't say, "I'm a trauma survivor." Say, "I am a builder of fire." Don't say, "I was abused." Say, "I became untouchable." Don't say, "I have anxiety." Say, "I own stillness." Words are spells. Speak power or stay silent. He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. Friedrich Nietzsche. But here's the secret. Your why is not found. It is chosen. You don't wait for it. You decide it. You carve it into your days. The moment you do, weakness begins to dissolve. Because when you know your direction, distractions die. Drama fades. Doubt becomes noise and weakness. It loses its grip. So decide. Decide right now. Who do you serve? What do you build? What do you protect? What will you not tolerate for one more day? Make it real. Make it written. Make it non-negotiable. Because if you don't choose a why, the world will assign you one. And it will be weak. It will be soft. It will keep you obedient, broke, and forgettable. But that is not your fate. Not anymore. Because by the time this is done, you will no longer be the same. You're still here. That means something in you is starting to wake up. Something old, something raw, something buried. Let's close. Because you already knew everything I said. Somewhere deep inside you, the real you, the grounded, clear, calm, dominant version was listening to every word and nodding, remembering what strength feels like, what clarity feels like, what it feels like to move without apology. That's not motivation. That's home. You're back. But here is the catch. You can't unknow this. You can't go back to being the version of you who made excuses, who delayed, who broke promises to himself. Because now you know better. And when you know better, you either evolve or you lie. So choose. Become the man or woman Nietzsche would respect. Not the loudest, not the richest, not the most praised. The most real. The one who looks in the mirror and sees no hesitation, only presence. This is your standard now. Guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. This was not a video. This was a challenge. If you accept it, if you are ready to begin the work of reforging, make a declaration. Comment below. I accept the forge. Subscribe. The real work has just begun.